Good morning, Paul Case here. Day after Memorial Day. We had a bunch of rain. See the water sitting on my driveway. Water hanging on the fence all over. Probably gonna get some more today. Wonder if that means they give up on me, or they're just getting all the grass they can eat. They're not worried about stopping and making sure that we get fed feed today. You can see this little butte right here on my back of my truck. And some of you probably don't know what that is. That is a phase converter, a rotary phase converter. And in order for us to run those electric machines at the sawmill that are above 10 horsepower, there's 10 horsepower is about the biggest single phase motor you can get. By single phase, it runs off a 220, but 220 is actually just two runs of the same electric that goes into your house that you like plug your hair dryer into, or radio, or your cell phone charger. And that's 110 volt. And so on those, they have 110 and a ground or neutral. And on like an arc welder or a simple farm machine that would have a horsepower rating of under 10 horsepower, it would have, that's called single phase 220. And they actually just have two hot legs of 110 volts. Well, in order to run a bigger motor and do it efficiently, you've got to have three runs of that 110 volts. But we don't have access to that here. There is three phase that runs out here, but it's now a little more than a mile from here. And in order for me to get them to run that over here to my place, the electric company told me it would be, they wouldn't even price it to me. They told me it would be cost prohibitive to run it here. They didn't want to do it. And that's okay. I'm like the last one on the line. There's not much chance somebody else is going to need to hook up and run three phase, but I can run this converter. And what this does is it starts this motor to running with capacitors and only two legs of hot, and it drags the third one to make the third phase. And so you have to have, in order to start the motor on the mill, you have to start this machine, which will start that motor to spinning, and it'll run it. And then once it gets this motor to go in, it's producing a three phase, and you can start the other deal. And so kind of, it's a little bit of a poor man's wiring nightmare. And I was just looking at this, and this stupid thing ain't got the switch I've got to have to be able to run. I don't see it on there. I have to call the guy I borrowed this from, bought it from, whatever you want to say. Yeah, there's supposed to be an on-off switch on it, and I bet you anything he was turning it on and off at the breaker. He had a breaker that was turning this thing on and off, so I'll have to have another switch. It's always something. I may have one. But anyway, Scott went down to the mill yesterday. He was going to run some, even though it was a holiday. And he didn't get a log completely squared off. He had cut on it some. And then the thing got to where it wasn't running right, and so he thought it had kicked the breaker outside at the pole, shut everything down, and went and flipped the breaker back on, off, and then on again, and come back in. Couldn't get it to run. And when I come in there, he flipped the switch. He said, well, now it sounds like it's running, and the motor on the converter would fire up and run, but it wasn't producing any of the third leg. So So I bought this from a friend. It won't hurt me to have an extra one. I've got 2 different ones of these we're running down there, and it won't hurt me at all to have an extra one. But anyway, I bought this from a friend, and it's exactly like the one we've got, except apparently it has a few little deals. It's missing a switch. You got to have a switch to where you can turn this on, and then you've got to have the switch to where you turn the motor on sawmill on. I've got the one for the motor on sawmill, but this one don't have the other one we've got's just got push buttons right there where those 2 holes are on the end of that. So I don't know what I may have to do to get that fixed, but if it's just a 220 on off switch, I got one of them, I think. So anyway, that's what we're doing this morning. Got to get this thing to going so we can get going here. I think Scott's already here, but I haven't for sure seen his truck. Anyway, I may take some video later and show you how this all works. That's what we're doing today. Good afternoon, Paul Case here, Tuesday, May 26th. Got our sawing done for today. We'd been having electrical problems. Couldn't figure it out. Believe it or not, I had to get an electrician to come out and to tell me that I had a blowed fuse. But it didn't really act like a blown fuse, so in my defense, I'm stupid. But we got back to going and having some little mechanical issues with this thing. Got to where this is my little get around. It's a Bobcat brand that is made by the golf cart company. And this deal right here is the shifter. Shifts it from forward to backward. I was just looking at this, and it's gotten to where you can't shift it in forward. And if you look at that part, let me see where the heck it's at right there, real close. You can see that it's got a crack in it right there. You see that thing open up? Yeah, I'll have to take that off there. Maybe build me one. See how much slack it's got in it. Doesn't even turn the thing, so I've not ever thought I could build a better mousetrap, but that thing's made out of pop metal. So I gotta work on that some, but I'm done some work this afternoon to get a little spreader ready, because I've got a mess of stuff in the end of my building. I've got to get started to spreading some of that out, and it's just sawdust and bark and trash, and I'll clean most of the trash and all that out of it, but I never spread it on anything that I may want to bale for hay, because it have chunks of wood in it. And I couldn't tell you it does it any good, but I put a bunch of that on my pasture. So I ain't got this spreader. I had to put a new tire on it right there. I've got some of them. I aired the other one plumb up, but it is flat now. It's been about 2 hours since I was in here. So I guess I'm gonna change it too. Had to grease it, and then the last time I'd used it, the chain wanted to come off, so I had to make me another little wooden block. Guess what? Guess where I got that wood for that one at? This is the one it had on it. It had a notch war in it. Kind of small in comparison. So I built one. I hoped it would last a little while. Made it out of oak. I think that piece that come off there was oak too. But also, we're fixing to start on a project here, and that's part of it. That right there may just look like a cardboard box, but that right there is a skid steer backing plate. 1/4 inch metal. I'm gonna lay it down here, and I've got this bale spear right here that is gonna get married to that. Have me another one. Actually, I'll only be one short when I get that done, because the next project that's right after that, if it's too wet to work outside, is gonna be this little doodad right here. And it's upside down, so it's a little hard to tell, but that is a weld-on kit of a skid steer quick attach. And I'm gonna put it on my do-all loader to where I can quick change between forks and bucket spear. It gets the spear on it most often, so that's what I'm thinking about working on here this evening. And I guess since I now know it, I'm gonna have to go ahead and wait to work on that for a little bit. Change this tire, and I'm sure y'all have seen a tire took off and put on. I actually have a machine for that right over there. It works pretty good, but I'd like to have the thing on air so I didn't have to pull the air compressor and air it up just every little bit. And this spear making, it's gonna be. So I had to put another tire on. That other tire had a problem inside of it. It was leaking all around. And we've got a match set on now. Hey, that's something. Have a match set of tires on your manure spreader. But I took one of those plates, skid steer quick attach plates, and made me another bale spear plate I bought on eBay. Like $80, $90, something like that. I didn't think I could make one for that. The amount of time and bending. I don't have a way to bend. I'd have to cut and weld it on right angle and everything. So I got me a little bale spear welded on there. We'll see how long it takes me to break that. And to add an end to the day, I'm gonna shut the lights off and go eat a hamburger with the kids. I've been running the fan while I was welding and cutting there, so I'm gonna take a little walk around here. Make sure I don't see anything's on fire. Nothing like that. I'd hate to leave my shop on fire. Everything's pretty wet in here. I don't think if some of the stuff on the floor did catch fire, I don't believe it'd go very far. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.